Well, hello. With less than 2 months before I start my Appalachian Trail through hike, I thought I would give an update of how my physical, mental, and emotional preparation is going. These processes are going to be different for everybody, so before I go into my preparation, I'm going to talk a little bit about my specific circumstances. Starting with physical, my ankles have been a problem area for me for my entire life. They tend to randomly give out, for lack of a better word, and that results a lot of times in me falling and sometimes injuring myself more. In fact, in 2020, I actually sprained my ankle. And then in 2021, I had another fall, which wasn't a sprain, but it was a very painful injury and it affected my mobility on that ankle. And I ended up in physical therapy for a few weeks. I worked on stretching and strengthening those muscles, and I was able to not only be without pain after that point, but I also gained a lot of strength in my ankles where I didn't have it before. And so I noticed I was falling less frequently after that point, but I can't let that slip, because if I get out of the habit of doing those exercises and stretches, then I notice that I start to fall more and my ankles give out more. Aside from doing those stretches and strengthening exercises every day, I always hike with trekking poles. Even if I'm doing a really easy trail, I have at least one pole, because you never know when my ankle is going to give out, and at least if I have a pole, I can catch myself from falling and creating more damage. Another problem area for me has been my hips lately. Starting from about a year ago, I noticed a lot of tightness and pain in my hips when I would be hiking. And I think what happened was I was doing a lot of tough winter hikes last year where it was very cold out, and I would go from my sedentary day job to all of a sudden hiking these big mountains, and I think my hips just didn't know how to adjust to that. So since last year, I've been getting better about stretching my hips. Keeping up the momentum of hiking has been really challenging between working full time, the shorter days, having to drive a couple hours to get to any substantial mountains, and the holidays. So I haven't really been able to get out and hike as much as I would like, but anytime I have a free weekend, I use that and go up north and try to backpack or camp or hike. On weeks when I can't hike, I have been swimming, which is really good cardio and resistance training, and it's also nice and gentle on your joints. In addition to this, I've been doing squats and lunges to strengthen my leg muscles. For mental preparation, this started for me a few months ago when I got approved for a shorter work contract. Without this hike would not have been possible. So that's what really kind of made it sink in for me that this is actually happening. Having someone who can take care of my car, plants, and mail while I'm away is also helping to make this possible. After that, it's been about planning out my gear, resupply, and getting organized. I used the app Far Out as well as a trail planning spreadsheet, which I'll share in the description, in order to plan out the first 2 weeks. But beyond that, I'm just going to wait and see how I feel and how I'm doing when I'm out there before I plan any more. The same goes for resupply boxes. I'm planning to do a combination of resupply boxes and stopping in town for supplies. I don't want to rely too heavily on the boxes, because you never know what you're going to have too much of or what you're going to be sick of until you're out there. One thing that I've learned from experience is I will tend to send myself way too much, and then I'll end up with all this extra weight, or I'll have to send some of it back. So I think to start, I'll probably send myself 1 or possibly 2 boxes, and then for the rest of them, I'll have a box that's open and I'll have some options of things in there, and then I can ask Brian to put things in or take things out depending on what I want or what I need. For emotional preparation, this one is probably the hardest one to talk about as well as complete. What I know about myself on trail is I have the tendency to become lonely and homesick, which almost led to me quitting the long trail back in 2021. Leaving my home, my friends, my boyfriend is going to be very difficult for me. But there are some things which will make this change more bearable. One is having Brian be able to visit me on trail every few weeks. In fact, Brian will be starting the trail with me and spending the first couple nights with me.
Oh, oh my God.
I wouldn't step there.
And we have a cool and unique way in which we're doing this, which I think will help ease the transition to the hike physically, mentally, and emotionally. Having the Zoleo satellite communicator is also giving me peace of mind because I'll be able to send text messages to Brian even if I don't have service. Speaking of not having service, one thing I found that gave me comfort on trail was having episodes of a TV show I was watching downloaded to my phone. And that way I had something to look forward to when I got to camp that would provide me with some normalcy. And it was just such a huge comfort on days, especially when I was hiking alone and I was at camp alone, just being able to have that show to watch so I didn't feel quite as lonely. I think that's going to really help me a lot, at least in the beginning. I know I'm going to miss out on a lot of fun events going on in my town, and one thing that is really helping me to have peace of mind with that is my friend Kristen has said that she will be writing me a newsletter every couple weeks with all of the goings on of the town, and so I'm gonna really look forward to reading that and kind of staying in touch. I think with all preparation, you can only do so much, and then the rest, you just have to do it and experience it. So I'm trying not to stress out too much about this and plan every single detail or anything like that. I think that I'm gonna get out there and I'm just gonna start doing it, and I'm gonna get into the routine and everything's gonna be fine. But just coping with that initial change, I think some of these things are going to help a lot with. One thing that I didn't mention is that making these vlogs, I think, is going to help me a lot in terms of the emotional side of things, because I feel like when I'm doing the vlogs, it gives me a purpose, and it's also providing me with some accountability because I'm sharing my journey with you. And so in a way, it feels like people are counting on me to complete the hike and they want to see me succeed. So it's sort of motivation for me to keep going. Another thing that I forgot to mention is just meeting some of the other people that I will be hiking around has been really comforting to me. Actually, there was a sort of like a live premiere on Tara Treks where she showed everybody's intro videos that's going to be vlogging this year. And there was a lot of people on there that I'm already following, and then I met some other people. So it was really nice to kind of get to know other hikers, and knowing that there's a ton of other people on the same boat as me, and some people that are starting around the same time, so I know who I can look out for. And I think that's going to be huge, because just like feeling like I'm not alone and that there's other people in the same boat, I think is going to be really comforting to me. I've got some more videos coming up, some more shakedown hikes, some more gear videos. I'm planning to keep up with the bi-weekly videos for right now until work kind of settles down a little bit, and then I hope to go back to weekly videos up until I start the trail, and then I'll be doing daily vlogs. So I hope you'll continue to follow along on my journey of preparing for living out in the woods for several months. If you haven't already, be sure to subscribe so you can follow along with my preparation, and then once my videos come out for the trail, you'll be the first to know. Thank you for watching, and happy trails.